Okay, we're taping again, and it's June 15th, 2025, and we are working. Let me tell you, uh, let me just let the lines and what we're doing speak instead of talking so much, because ultimately you are defining a visual territory and a visual space for the purpose of the purpose is to convey. For me, I mean, I could say for me, some people just slap color on there and the colors are nice. There's just various ways that you can express yourself with visual art. And that's everything. There's nothing is invalid because let's put it, there's a surrealist photographer that I want the class to look up by the name of Man Ray from the 20s. I mean, that was when he had his most, that we got most of his attention as an artist, as a visual artist, as a photographer. Surrealist, meaning he would do at a time when photography was still young. Conventional photography. There was no digital in the 20s. And he said, he got a lot of criticism, as did so many artists. It was in Paris at that point. And there was Man Ray in Paris at that point. There was Picasso in Paris at that point. People were in Paris. Hemingway, who was like a visual equivalent of so many artists, visual artists. Stravinsky, a musical equivalent of, let's say, a musical version of a cubist, possibly, or a surrealist mixed with cubist. In other words, people were doing stuff that the mainstream was saying, "What are you doing? That's not art. That's not music." And Man Ray, the photographer, was. I don't know the context, the interview, but I remember seeing a documentary on PBS on Man Ray years ago, and that was a long time ago, but it can be looked up. But I believe the basic premise of what he said was, well, listen, what's the worst that can happen? If you have a bad artist, why get upset about it? They can't hurt you. They really can't hurt you. What can hurt you? Then he went on, because a bad artist, maybe we don't want bad art. So he went on to say, a bad cook, a bad chef, you could eat a meal prepared by a bad kitchen, a bad chef, a bad meal, and you can end up getting food poisoning and dying. Why don't you worry about criticizing bad chefs? Something like that. So it was a kind of an interesting take on, but here I digress, because look, we're working on something that Man Ray wasn't working on, which is a really technical attempt at figurative work, but in a surrealist kind of vision, you might say, which it is what it is, meaning, you have Dali, you have Magritte, you have people that do or did celebrated for doing and having done that kind of work that is like extremely figurative at the same time being extremely poetic and symbolic. Is that what I'm shooting for? I'm not really sure. I'm not really shooting for anything. And really what I'm trying to do is share my joy of being able to get up and have something to do in a time and a place in our culture and society when it's getting really hard to find purpose for a lot of people who are at loose ends and then idle hands. Believe me, that causes a big problem in our culture, our society. There's a lot of tension that is a result, I believe, of people not having something to do with their hands. Simple as that. I'm one of them. We're all human. We all need something to do with our hands in general, and I recommend visual art in a much more specific and beautiful, creative way as an outlet that doesn't hurt anyone, first of all, and second of all, can actually be a tool, or it can help yourself by doing it therapeutically, and also you can share a skill with those who are completely without purpose in our culture or society, I would recommend school teachers use visual art a lot more to help students learn behavior skills, which has to do with positive communication in every class. That's math, social studies, English and language arts, and science, and so much more. And we are coming to you from New York City, June 15th, 2025. Bye. See you next time, which is going to be all day segments in the Bronx. Thank you.